right at the present time, Mr. Chairman, we've got people out there making money, big money in the banks. The little guy, the middle-class guy, is losing everything. Today, I noticed just a couple of 3 hours ago that the boys in Wall Street were patting each other on the back that the economy was coming back, but people are still losing their jobs. That the gross domestic product was up somewhere around 3.5%. And I'm looking around. I made 4 phone calls within 5 minutes talking to people that I know that have got the same question, even though they don't listen to the show because they're out there trying to find a job or find something to do. They all told me, quote, this is all ludicrous. There's more people out of work. There's no jobs out here, and they're telling us that the American GDP went up 3%, and yet more and more people are being laid off. What are they building to make the product, the national product index go up?
Nothing. Unemployment is 21.4%. It's going to slowly get worse from here on out for the next 9 months, and then I think there'll be another package of stimulus, and I think it'll probably encompass what it did last time, and that would be about $800 billion. If they don't, they'll approve at least $400 billion. An absolute minimum. And I think the banks are going to start lending again. The banks were lending 14% less year on year. And if the banks start lending more to make up, say, another 400 or 800 billion, that'll extend the slowdown in unemployment for probably about 1.5 to 2 years. Now, the problem with doing that is this. The stimulus is inflationary, but the bank lending is far more inflationary. And it's because the money which the banks got from the Federal Reserve was created out of thin air by the Fed. They sent it to the banks. The banks then, having borrowed it 0.25%, they sent it back to the Fed, and the Fed's keeping it for them and paying them 3.5% or something like that. So they have a guaranteed gain for doing nothing. But when the Fed wants them to increase lending again, they will do so. And that is what is called, when that money starts getting used, it's called monetization, very, very inflationary. And they're already, the Fed is already doing things that are very inflationary. And those things are buying U.S. treasuries with money they just created out of nothing, or like $1.2 trillion worth of collateralized debt obligations, which are bonds with mortgages inside of them, which are called toxic waste. They're leading through the primary deal and network, which are the 21 dealers, brokerage firms, banks that deal with the Fed and the Treasury Department, and all that money is being monetized. The whole thing is insanity. But they're doing anything they can to keep the system floating until they want to pull the plug on it. And they can do that anytime they want. On the other hand, they might try to keep the system going indefinitely. We just don't know. And I think from what I see, their timeline is a little further out than most people think for taking the system down in totality. I'm looking at 1.5 to 2 years, maybe a little bit more. but it remains to be seen. But the crux of the whole thing, very simply, is that we are going to get a lot of inflation because they are going to do some of these things. And so that's what you can look forward to. How do you protect yourself? You own gold and silver related assets. What's your best defensive plan? Dehydrated freeze-dried food, a filter, and a method of defending yourself. And so these are the things that you have to do because of what the power behind government is doing. Another thing I saw today is that legislation has been put in place. It hasn't been passed. It's just been presented in the Senate. And the Senate wants to make more and different rules for 401ks. A lot of people have been taking money out of them because they don't have a job and they want to stop it because the money's in the stock market. And the money being in the stock market, if they take their money out, then the pension or 401k has to sell the money. Excuse me. Has to sell the stock in order to get money to pay these people. Like somebody might have $200,000 in their 401k and they want to buy 100, and they're allowed under the rules of the company to do that. And they pay it back so much per month, and they pay interest, but they're only paying interest to themselves. And so they can take $100,000 out and go out and buy gold and silver related assets. And a lot of this is happening. And so that's one of the reasons why they want to stop this. But I think it might be a precursor to legislation to roll maybe a year or two down the line all of the retirement plans into Social Security. But I don't know for sure. I'm only guessing based upon testimony they had about a year ago. And this is the first shot that's been fired at the American worker in his retirement. And whether it'll get passed or not, I don't know. But people who have 401ks from a previous employer should get rid of them, pay the taxes, and if there's a penalty, pay it, because you may end up with nothing. And so it's something to think about.
Amen. I've got a number of questions. We'll start with the one from the Blog Talk Radio chat room. You came in just at the right time. I was about to break away and look at the Marine Corps chat room. From the Blog Talk Radio chat room, we have, if possible, when the time permits, can you ask Bob if this inflation will be exported worldwide?
Excuse me, I sneezed. Could you please repeat it?
Yes, sir. I have that problem. Too.
I have sinus.
Welcome to Drew's World. If the question is, if possible, when time permits, can you ask Bob if this inflation will be exported worldwide? And that comes from Robbie out of the Blog Talk chat room.
Well, the answer is yes. And we're the ones who are going to be exporting the inflation. And the reason why is the dollar is going to perpetually go down. Yes, there'll be rallies, but it's on its way down. The American people and the government are broke. And they just keep on, this week alone, they're having the sale of bonds and notes and bills by the U.S. Treasury. $182 billion. They're doing that twice a month. That's $360-odd billion a month. What's normal? $36 billion a month. Now, it's just incredible what's going on, and the American public turns the other way and says, I don't want to know about it, or I don't understand. Well, let me tell you something. You better understand, you better try to do something about it, because if they continue to do what they are doing, your dollar, which is now worth about 5 cents on a 1980 basis in purchasing power, might be worth almost zero. It also means all the things that you buy that come from overseas are going to cost more money because the overseas currencies are going up in value versus the dollar. So that's what we're facing in the future as far as inflation is concerned. The inflation will occur here in the United States. And the reason why is the falling value of the dollar, among other things. But that's the main thing.